Hello, my name is Master Joshua Goepfrich. I am the president of the Ambassador Martial Arts Christian Fellowship. That's a lot to say in one word really fast, so I should have probably slowed that down, which is interesting because we're going to be talking a little bit about slowing things down here in this video. I want to talk today a little bit about as you're practicing, knowing where your target is. Now, your instructors tell you a lot. You teach if you're an instructor about knowing where your target is. And so, but I'm going to take it from a different viewpoint, in the sense that I'm going to use the Wave Master here, and let's just say this little, the S is our target. And so you'll learn to strike the S, as that is your target, no matter what technique you're doing, strike that S. And so, all of that. We teach on that. You've learned that. You teach on that. What I want to get into is you already know you're going towards the S as your target. I use the S because it stands for solar plexus. Ha! You see what I did there? But anyways, that's just a little fun thing. The question is, how do you consistently hit your target? And that is where this is going. Consistently hitting your target requires you to have the right sight to get there. And what I mean by that is, on a bow, you have a peep sight when you pull the bow back and you notch the anchor of your thumb behind your jaw. If that's where you do yours, there is a peep sight that you use to aim the arrow where you want it to go. On a gun, you have a sight to use to help aim the bullet to the target. Well, when we're striking, whether it's a kick, a punch, whatever, even elbow or knee strikes, we have a sight on our body. If you're using an upper body strike, the elbow is the sight. If you're using a lower body strike, the knee becomes your sight. So if you're doing a front snap kick or a front kick or whatever you're doing, if you pull up and your knee is pointing over here, then you try to kick that way, that messes up the bone alignment. You want the knee to point exactly at the S. Same thing when you're striking. If your elbow is out here and it's pointing this way, sure, you can get there, but it's going to drastically affect the impact, the torque, the bone alignment. So you want that elbow to be exactly where it needs to be to get that strike to where it needs to go. And that really brings in the idea of making sure that your bones are aligned, that your wrist is aligned with your elbow, which is aligned with your shoulder, that your knee and your ankle and your hip are all aligned together. And to talk about that in depth a little bit, I shouldn't say too much in depth because we want to keep these short, but I'm going to bring in our Hanshi, Sifu John Milligan, and he's going to talk a little bit as we walk through this about how bone alignment works in regard to the sight with our elbows and knees. Sifu?
Okay, first of all, the principle of bone alignment is fundamental to doing good technique. I often talk about bone, belly, and breath. The idea of, first of all, breath is breathing on technique because the body relaxes and tenses. Belly is, if he throws a punch, is alignment with my center to the technique. I'm not just throwing the hand up like this and being away from it. As I do this, I rotate the belly to add to the technique. The most important thing we're talking about is bone alignment. Now, I'm going to do something real simple that you can do with your students so that they can understand this. If you have your palm and you're pressing against my palm, and we push, and we're pushing like this, and we're got a nice little thing going. If I say, okay, student, raise that elbow 3 inches out this way, okay, he loses everything. It's a real simple thing so that you can teach your students to understand what Master Goepfrich is talking about here. Bone alignment is everything to do with delivery. You develop energy by your technique. You deliver effectively by principles: bone, belly, breath, delivery. And then the third thing you do with energy, if he throws a punch, is dealing with energy. And bone alignment is crucial. This is an extremely strong block, although if I did this in kata, in a tournament, people say, well, he's got weak blocks. But he throws a hard punch, and I've got a very strong block because of bone alignment. Even my hand holding the cup is important to bone alignment. If I change my fingers, you can see how his arm pushes me back just by changing bone alignment.
Which is interesting because we're talking about that elbow being the site for my strike. It's also the site for his block. You see, my elbow is aligned, bone alignment, to get ready to torque over, and I'm not torquing. He's torquing my elbow, or my wrist, I should say, and I'm still in bone alignment here.
He's strong there, yes.
Okay, but if at the same time, if I did the belly and I changed the belly to align with my sight, with my elbow, it's the same principle. So even as we talk about that, the same thing's true on the knee, with the knee being whether stances or the stance of, how do I want to say this? So one of the things we don't talk about in martial arts often is when you're delivering a kick, the other leg is still a stance. So we gotta have both knees aligned for the delivery. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, my legs are shot. I'm 65 years old. My knees don't work hardly anymore. So I'm not going to demonstrate a lot. But the whole so it's very important though for me, especially with bad legs. Used to be known as a kicker. Now I'm not. Is that the structure, just like with the arms as we demonstrated, if I do a kick and my back leg is not in alignment, if my back leg is like this and I do the kick, I've lost it. I may have developed as much energy, and sometimes we do cheats to develop more energy, but if I'm not delivering it.
So let's use this, because I like this kick, and he can kind of break it down for you a little bit. It's not used often by a lot of people. It's a reverse roundhouse. And I'm using this one because if both knees are not aligned bone-wise, you can't do it, because you're coming up and bringing it in. One, boom, there, right on that S right there. But you'll notice the shift that I have, and he can talk more about it, is I'm coming up and bringing this. You can watch my right leg come into alignment. He can talk about that a little bit. You want to talk about what's going on with my leg here?
He's not pointing as I would in a front kick. He's not pointing the toes directly forward. We do the same kick. I've learned two different styles of Taekwondo. Neither is the same style that Master Goepfrich uses. I first learned the original Chundokan, which was Shotokan forms. They have no kick like this. The second series I learned was the Chang Hans, which is the ITF, and in the form Kodan, we did this kick.
This is more that Tikian.
Yes.
Here, where you're swinging.
The idea is I'm delivering force at an oblique angle. I'm coming straight towards him, but then my kick is actually coming in at an angle. As you change the angle, just as we did with the little pushing demonstration, as you change the angle, the bone structure has to be different. So if I'm in a stance that I would, and this is what most people do in the Kodan, because you start in a front stance, is they remain in a front stance. My knee is in a bad position. It's probably how I hurt my knees. One of the ways I've hurt my knees over the years. He is coming in from an angled back stance so that as he makes the strike, the knee, go ahead and do that again. His knees form a nice resistance because his impact is coming this direction, not this direction, in which case he'd want to change his knee position. Yes, right. Absolutely. I'm sorry,
That's okay.
So again, you look at the direction of impact, it has to be backed up. Even if I'm doing a flying kick, I do what I call a flying route, which I can't do a flying kick anymore. But if I'm doing a jump side kick, I don't actually want to be kicking as I'm going up. I don't really even want to be kicking when I'm at the apex of my jump. I want to be making contact as I'm coming down, keeping the alignment with the center mass of my body so that that structure of my mass and movement is fully impacting the target area.
So as our knees and our elbows are our sights, the sight cannot be off from the trajectory of where the extension, the bullet, the arrow, leg, well really foot or hand is going to be. This is why we laugh as martial artists about the haymaker, is because it's off. You have to get the sight in line with what is being deployed. But it also has to be in line with the grip. And the grip, everybody thinks is the shoulder or the hip, and it's not. It's the belly. And so that is one of those movement things, and that happens on the balls of your feet when you're not rooted. So we can talk more about that, but elbows, knees as the sights, that's what we want to talk about today. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, and hopefully this was beneficial to you. Thank you for watching.